welcome to this week's show on Town TV. Last week, you may recall, we were over in Reading at Safeways, and we got a bit more of Safeways in Reading to show you, so you can see what the new proposed site will look like in Charlton. Also, this past week, we've had St Patrick's Day, and we sent Tony and Steve down to the local registry office. In fact, the new registry office in Andover, where a friend of Tony's was getting married on St Patrick's Day. So we're just going to bring you the proceedings and have a look around the new registry office in Andover.
Oh, Steve, it's St Patrick's Day today. Did you know that?
Well, I'm not an Irishman, but I did suspect things like a shamrock in here and a very large grin on your face, Tony, this morning, and mutterings about Guinness and that sort of thing before breakfast.
What time is it now? It's 25 past 12.
Where are we going to get a drink?
I don't know. There's a mate of mine getting married.
Right.
Pete is marrying Vicky. She's from Romania.
Right.
So there must be some drink at the reception there. Let's
Sounds
go
like
have a look and see what's happening.
Let's go and check it out. Okay. So, Tony,
What?
we found a wedding,
We found a drink.
we found a drink, more importantly,
Well, we
it's
found the
sim-
bride and groom as well.
and we did indeed. So we had a very nice wedding,
Wonderful.
very
My
nice
shamrock's
drink.
beginning to work now.
But I don't think you're wilting, Tony.
No, I'm doing fine. I've got the rest of the day to go yet.
So,
And we're going somewhere tonight as well, aren't we? Just listen to some Irish music.
Absolutely, I think we'll get you to do the jig, maybe,
Oh,
Tony,
maybe it's going to be a long day.
and a long night. I
And a long
suspect.
night as well. But why not? It's St Patrick's Day.
Absolutely.
And my dear friend Pete is getting married. It's important.
Well, he's married his Romanian orphan, as he calls her. Not strictly true, but
Well, he said he got her out of an orphanage, but I don't believe a word of it.
Okay, so we'll catch you later down at the Irish Club then.
Yeah, let's go down there later on.
Okay, let's do it.
1, 2, 3.
It's magic!
Yeah, this is Town's television, yeah.
Hello, I'm at the Cricklade College this afternoon with Richard Evans, the principal. Now, we're here for a rather special occasion. This week is National Science, Engineering and Technology Week. It's going on all over the country, in schools and colleges throughout the land. Now, Richard, what is the general idea of this week?
It is really to celebrate the achievement in Britain of science and technology. We obviously have a long history in developing things, perhaps not such a good one in bringing them to realisation. But we wanted here at Cricklade to celebrate that week by showing what is going on here and how we're using technology.
So what sort of things will you be showing this week?
Well, we have a very strong science department with many students studying for science at GCSE and A-level and for the new general national vocational qualification. So probably 200 or 300 full-time students studying science and technology in different forms. And here we have concentrated on some of the new developments, really. We have a new language laboratory, which is just being installed this week, driven by computers, and it has videos as well as the usual audio equipment. And that's one way in which the new technology is being used to help students to study languages.
All right. Now, has this week been sponsored by any particular organisation?
Not that I know of. It's a government-sponsored week, which is really trying to show that Britain leads the field in technological development.
Right, okay. So basically people can come down all weeks, open to the public, is it?
Yes, the college is open and people can come in and look at the exhibition, which is in the foyer. And we, at the same time, we have an exhibition on Andover going on, which some of our mature students have undertaken. And there's a lot of interest for people to have a look at.
Okay, Richard, thanks very much. I think we're going to go off and maybe have a chat with one or two other people and maybe one or two of the students involved in the week. And thanks very much for your time.
Pleasure. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Okay, well, with regard to Science and Technology Week, I'm here with John, who's studying something to do with computers. Now, John, what exactly are you studying?
I'm studying the AutoCAD AEC, which is a computer CAD package, I suppose. I mean,
CAD being computer
aided design. That's right. Yes.
And are you a full-time student here?
No, part-time. Part-time, in fact. It's a 2-day per week course, and it sort of fits in rather well with the rest. With my current status, I suppose, which is not terribly well employed. Well, I mean, it's a course which is set up for people like me, who are, I suppose, either wanting to improve their skills or to change direction, I suppose. And it's very suitable, I think. I really enjoy it. It's good.
Right, and you feel that science, the sort of the technology side of things is very important. Like, you're obviously an architect looking at the package on there. Obviously, the technology side of things is important for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, without this system, I think, without it, I just think without a leg or an arm, you need to, in my opinion, understand the technology today. And this is really what most architectural practices are using, as well as another system. I mean, this is one of a number of systems, obviously, but yeah, this is extremely valuable, obviously, yeah.
So the days of drawing desk and blueprints are out the window, are they?
Not really. But I mean, looking at this project here, this is an extremely simple building, as you can see. But the basic principles are important. But when you get to an extremely complex building, let's say a multi-million-pound office development. I mean, like a Tesco, let's say. I mean, consider, it's not an office. Well, I mean, this is where it comes into its own. Where you can draw a section and repeat it over and over again. I mean, it's labour-saving, time-saving, definitely. Once you've learnt the system, obviously, it can be a slow process. I mean, but I think it's a valuable addition to my skills, definitely.
Right. So, as we can see, obviously, computers and technology is the future for all work, if you like. I mean, from anything from architecture through to whatever it might be. John, thanks very much for your time. We're going to go off and have a look at one or two other things. And best of luck.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, obviously, no function would be complete without sandwiches, which Steve the cameraman is filling his mouth with at the moment. Now, obviously this takes quite a lot of organisation. Now I'm here with Fran Jakes from the catering department. Fran, is this easy for you to do?
Yes, we do this on a very regular basis. The college actually runs quite a large catering department. We run as a normal restaurant, opening 3 evenings and 3 lunch times every week, and the students both cook in the restaurant, cook in the kitchen, and obviously do all the food service, as well as providing bar facilities.
So how many students do you actually have in the catering department?
Approximately 36. That's first and second year students.
And that's all sort of chefing or other things as well?
No, they do a complete course in the fact that they all chef, they all do food service, and they all do wines and spirits. So it's a complete complementary 2-year course.
And that's the City and Guilds course?
It is. It's a City and Guilds. It's the new NVQ course, which is in catering, yes.
Okay, and I believe that you're not purely just in catering. I believe you've organised something that's going on tomorrow here.
Yes, well, coincide with National Science Week, we're doing a schools quiz. 6 of our local schools have entered, and hopefully, obviously, one will be successful. And the engineering department here have actually made the prize. Hammock's Bookshop have given prizes too for the students that are participating, and a college certificate will be given out as well. Yes.
Okay, Fran, well, thanks very much for your time. I'm here with Val Pyland. Now, Val, What exactly is going on here?
This is the Look Forward course. It's an opportunity for adults to return to study. The idea is to get them back into the working situation as quickly as possible. It's a course which has been designed to cover all aspects of getting back to work, and part of it was this presentation of the exhibition. They have actually produced it themselves. They have done all the letter writing, they have entertained the mayor. This is why we're in this particular room. It's all part of the course. They needed to do it on an individual basis.
And what sort of age groups are
well, we say 19 to 90. I mean, we don't have any 19-year-olds on the course today,
or
but we have.
No.
No, we don't. We don't have. There is no age group, no age gap at all. I mean, there's no age barrier.
Right.
No. It's a question of coming in. They do all sorts of things, like, in addition to the exhibition, they've done bookkeeping and, or an introduction to bookkeeping and payroll, and anything that we considered would get them back to work quickly.
I suppose a lot of it is actually confidence building.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is confidence building. Assertiveness, we deal with that as well. Interview technique, anything like that. Anything at all that comes under the heading of getting people back to work.
And anybody is entitled to come on this course?
Anybody's entitled to come on. The course is free. We will be starting another one on April the 18th.
How long do they last?
They last for 10 weeks. And it's a very interesting and varied timetable.
And people can come and apply here at the college or through their job centres?
Yes, well, either. They can come, if they come to the college, it's a direct route because they're introduced straight over to us at Cricklade House, because it's part of the pre-vocational division, which is headed by Jean Lanny. So it's a question of making opportunities, as many as possible, for adults in today's world.
Jackie, you've obviously just finished the course.
Well, yeah, this is our last week.
Right, now, good course?
Yes, it has been very good. Yes, it's taught us all sorts of skills to prepare us to go back to the workplace, give us confidence. We've during the course of this preparing this exhibition, we've worked as a group to decide what topics to cover, and also done some individual research for our own particular subject.
Right, okay. Now, Gail, obviously the course is for people that have been in work at some time in the past and now looking to go back into work. Have you come out of it with more confidence and more confidence within yourself to go back and look for work?
Definitely. I hadn't worked for a number of years, and you do. One thing you do lose, being at home for a long time, is you lose your confidence. This course has been marvellous for that. Yeah, and the teamwork. It's been really good.
Has it been like directing you towards a certain career, or simply about boosting up your confidence to get back out into the marketplace and look for the type of work that you want to do?
Yes, it's given us confidence to. I haven't got anything in mind at the moment, but yeah, it's given us confidence to go back out. Feel sort of more marketable now for getting a job. Yeah.
And what sort of things has the course concentrated on?
IT and presentation work. Teamwork, business, English, varied things really.
So just sort of basically making into a whole employable person.
Yes.
Well, and then as we all know these days, it's not so easy. Okay, well look, Gail and Jackie, thank you very, very much indeed, and best of luck in the future. And I hope you get some work. And if you do, when you next get your job, pop in and tell us at Town TV, and you can tell the world about your new job. Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
To the UFO Show. We still have Colin with us, and Colin, last week we were saying to the viewers about, is this a modern day phenomena, or how far does it go back? Has it got a history, the crop formations?
Sure, it certainly has got a history. I mean, we're going back, there's a paper cutting here, a local paper cutting, at least to 1678. This is the Hertfordshire mowing devil, it's known as. A report by a farmer there of his oats being cut down following the arrival of, they said, a fiery light from the devil from the sky. That could easily be, of course, what we refer to today as UFO.
The orange.
Yes, an unusual orange light in the sky. So that's 1678. We have several in the 1700 period in the database back there in Connecticut. And 1946, we had a number of reports from farmers in the White Parish area near Salisbury. 1966, Tully, Queensland, Australia. And it runs right the way through, but something very special seems to have occurred 1976 near Winchester, south of Andover, here, and that Joyce Bowles case. Since that time, we've seen an increase in the number of reports, in the complexity of the patterns, particularly since 1990, and in the densities, where we have, in some cases, as many as 32 in one 10-acre field. I mean, that's the history.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colin, what has been done on the sort of scientific side of it, the analysing, the analysis of this? Has any work been done in the laboratories?
A great deal has been done, Reg. It's the most difficult area because the scientific fraternity don't easily associate themselves with an enigma of this kind. The UFO, just those letters UFO, frighten many off onto the horizon. But yeah, I think it really started when we discovered 3 circles forming an equilateral triangle in a field at Corhampton. These 3 circles we saw in our aerial surveillance photographs some days after they had initially arrived, that they were growing into a new pattern. That is, that as opposed to the swirl, a simple spiral that had appeared initially, these plants had formed 7 concentric rings within each circle and 48 spokes which were radiating out from the center of these 3 circles. And clearly something was happening to the plants. So we had those plants and others since analysed, first at a laboratory in Stroud in Gloucestershire, and we looked at the cellular structure eventually. There are major changes. We have some of those shown in undeniable evidence, convincing evidence that something profound was happening with the structure of the plants themselves.
The actual crystalline structure had changed on some, but didn't it also come back? It changed the actual structure, but as the corn grew, so the original structure took over again.
Well, when we looked at the laboratory, looked at the starch crystals produced from the process itself, it's too complex to go into right now, but the energy effect, seen through a microscope, the effect of, like snowflake effect, inside the starch crystal itself returned to that of the control sample, to the normal situation some weeks later. So there was a residual energy effect which was returning to the norm as time progressed. But I think the most exciting development, this is work being done by Professor Levingood at the Biophysical Laboratory in Michigan, the United States currently, has revealed that when you sow the seed from the plants inside the crop circles, that the first germination from the crop circle plants reveals that the root structure below ground level and the plant height above ground level both are approximately 27% more healthy, more extensive. And now we have this change in the cellular level confirms that there is a very rare energy effect here which cannot be produced, this is the bottom line of course, by human feet or Doug's and Dave living down there in Southampton.
They're amazing, aren't they? They really do get about. I mean, they were there in the 1600s. And
that's right, 1600s. They have obviously visited the snow cover on the mountaintops in Afghanistan and Turkey. in the outback, where I've returned just 8 months ago from Australia, where we had 8 of these things in the outback on the edge of the desert. No Dougs and Daves seen out there, no road networks.
And in Vancouver, the top of the trees bent
absolutely
over.
Yes, here at Litchfield,
about, don't they?
That's right, 70-foot trees bent into circles in Litchfield, just up the road here at Bullington, and also in the United States.
Colin, a few years back you were touring the world doing lectures at different places, and while you were in America you had an experience over there which was very strange. You literally wanted to meet with the Hopi people and everything, and how did that come about?
Well, highly bizarre, very profound for me. I'd reached a point in the research where it was important to me personally that I talk with the indigenous peoples and get a feedback what intuitive feelings they had about these markings. There's a history behind that. But however, I had travelled to Australia and spoke to the Aborigines, and I was seeking out the Hopi Indian in America who held the knowledge of the Hopi prophecy, having read up about that. Well, I was doing a lecture. I'd been asked to do another lecture, but on the east coast of the States, at a very small town. There was about 1,000 people there, and if you can just imagine, out of 1,000 pairs of eyes, I was scanning, as you do as you're talking, latching my eyes to different individuals in the audience there, and I looked at this person, and I can only explain it, Reg, as a bang in my head. It was really very weird. I can't explain it any differently. It was like a minor explosion, and I latched my eyes to this person. That same person from that audience came forward after I finished my lecture and told me that she was a friend, the family had a friend, a very special friend, who was this very Indian that I ultimately arranged to address the United Nations with me, the very person I'd been seeking in the world out of billions of people, and these eyes latched mine and caused an effect in my head which I still can't explain. Many people will say coincidence, perhaps some might, coincidence, but I could give you a chain of these, and I am left knowing in a deep place within me that this is so important that it's as if we're playing out the record which was set. And I will stay with this because something of that significance appearing just literally right before your very eyes and leading you to the people that seem to have mattered, today, is obviously quite extraordinary.
It is strange. I mean, you meet so many people just being out looking at crop formations, but as soon as you get into the actual whole concept of the thing, it just goes on for miles.
Yeah.
And I wondered, you told me once about a computer factory or something. It was a very strange story, and I think it relates to certain things that have been going on.
No, I was asked to address a lecture down there with Bud Hopkins and one or two other speakers as well. And one of the people who was prepared to come forward publicly for the first time, this is down in Atlanta in the States, not so long ago, was the manager in a computer factory. And he was telling us and the audience that he was in charge of this particular department within the computer company, their major contractor to the American government on some of the satellite technology. They had a most weird situation arise there, where he said how it began was that he had his Coca-Cola, as they often do over there, as you know, very hot summer, is his Coca-Cola with ice cubes in there on his table, and he's working away. He notices and hears the ice popping. The ice is melting very quickly, and he said there was the most weird aura around the building. People seemed to be looking at one another as if they didn't know one another. He rushed out because there's obviously something happening here. He rushed out of his door into a passageway outside which interconnects the other departments, and other managers were also running around there wondering what this extraordinary noise was that was humming in the background. The computer networks went down, the electricity supply to the building was lost, And this is part, I mean, this is a very long story, but the building has a very high security system, high-level security system, due to the nature of its work. There are cameras everywhere, as there is in the town centre here, but feeding back to the security of the building. And what happened was that 3 UFOs were over the top of the building. There were over 100 people who lost 2 hours time in their day. None of them can recount without regressive techniques as to what happened to them from that moment on. Now, in addition to this, we have major computer networks out of operation, electricity supply cable. This is a very large 3-phase cable. For anybody into the technicalities of this, were cut off as if by laser into the building, and on camera, the security system cameras were very strange, short beings that were moving around only this department. All of them were removed from the building, and this coincided with a change of shift. It was a 3-shift system. Over 100 people came in their cars, arriving for work as normal. They came into the car park and simply sat in their cars for over 2 hours, as if programmed or affected by something external. So we had the whole shift of 100 people in the car park, sat there on camera, and inside, over 100 people removed. This has been held by the American government, who clearly were involved in this at a very early stage. There have been threats. This will be the first time this has gone out publicly outside of the Atlanta conference. There have been threats on the lives of the people, and including the manager of this company, not to disclose any of the event at all. It involved UFOs and short humanoid figures, and it's certainly the largest report of abductions in our history. Bud is investigating, and other people. I'm very much on the fringe of that particular investigation. It is a most weird report, one of the most important in recent times.
So they first noticed this actually with ice melting after he just put the ice in the glass.
Sure.
So he knew there was something was happening. Yeah. Some time. A temperature
increase, certainly, dramatic temperature increase, and all of them were hearing the hum outside, and then the events unfolded.
Another weird story. Well, thanks very much.
Pleasure, Reg.
And next week we've got something really interesting.
We've done really well with our beers, wines and spirits.
You've got a good name for wines, haven't you, actually, Safeways?
In fact, we were 1992's Wine Supermarket of the Year.
Right.
We have, I think, in the store over 400 different varieties.
Yeah.
We've got an excellent wine buyer who sources from all over the world, really to find some really...
Yeah, who is your wine buyer?
Well, she's called Liz Robertson.
Oh, right. Oh,
she's a master of wine.
That's right,
yeah.
This is an enormous delicatessen.
Enormous delicatessen. Yeah. This sort of display on the wall is...
very traditional, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Show the traditional delicatessen. I think it looks really good.
I think it's really nice, Nice departure from normal,
Yeah, I mean, you want to feel you're buying cheese in a place where people know something about it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't trust that the staff of supermarkets are actually going to have the product knowledge that you want.
Yeah.
So a few things that we do to help our customers buy cheese is we have this labeling system, the numerical labeling. So it's actually your guide to strength and flavor.
Yeah.
1 being the mildest to 5 being very strong. So all of our cheeses would actually have a label. Yeah, there's some samples there.
You know what? Tony, I'm going to give Tony a bit.
I'll have some more of that.
That's flavor strength 4. So quite tangy.
I think I might have a go.
Have another one. Anyway, fried cheese. Lots of cheeses, domestic cheeses, rather than only ever importing them. Things like Somerset Brie, in addition to a French Brie. We're very strong on cheese.
Yeah, I know.
And in fact, the whole deli area we've been very successful. It's getting increasingly popular with customers. Variety of pâtés, sausages.
Yeah. Okay, so you can make some pizzas down here.
We've got some more things down here. Yeah. One of the things, bacon. Our bacon is all British bacon.
Yeah.
On the deli is all British bacon. This is just showing more of our dedication to British products. Okay, this is our hot delicatessen. Now, so we've got them up now. Normally, when you come in here, you really smell the chicken, and it's really difficult not to buy it but they've just begun.
That's a very good price, isn't it? Actually, $2.49 for either garlic, lemon, or barbecue chicken. That's quite amazing.
Yeah, this is an idea. This is something they had in the States when I used to live in New York, and became very popular sort of 5 years ago. And they're just picking it up over here, and I think it's going to do really well.
It's a really good price.
Yeah, because you can buy it, you can take it home, and you can serve it for dinner. And you don't have to buy a whole chicken either. You can buy the halves, the quarters, just the legs. So there's a good range of chicken, and that's going to be something like more prepared food, more hors d'oeuvres, lots of ethnic foods. These become really popular, as you know. And of course, the pizzeria. And you can either buy them already prepared, or you can specially order one to your taste. And there's a variety. There's lots of choices up there. And we don't actually cook them here, but it's for the customers to take home and cook themselves.
So how do you think English tastes are developing now? You just said you came over 5 years ago. They're starting to actually catch up with the rest of the world, I think.
Well, they're getting a lot more choices now, aren't they? There's definitely. I mean, I think actually they're quite cosmopolitan English taste. It's very much, so much range of international products.
That's right.
This is our fresh flowers. We're really moving into the sort of horticultural side of things. Both pot plants, fresh cut flowers, and they're doing really well. And actually, they really last. I was given a bouquet 2 weeks ago by one of the store managers at a new store opening, and that was 2 weeks ago, and it's still going. I mean, I put the special preserving powder in it, and it's really worked. So they're great. Lots of fresh fruits and vegetables. Huge range. This is another area that we're very strong in. And we look over here, for example, at these melons. One of the things about melons is you never know what's inside it.
Right.
Or I don't. I mean, I can recognize some, but sometimes you can get a huge surprise. So we've actually got melon information up here. Watermelon. I won't try to pronounce that one. In the yellow honeydew. I mean, and it tells you what the flesh is like, and how to serve it. And see, this is another thing that Safeway do, is always giving the customer information. These are recipes.
That's good.
You'll see these throughout the store. These are our own recipes, which you can keep, and they're actually producing a binder now, so you can actually keep all your recipes together. Lots of exotic fruits here, as well as your traditional apples and oranges, bananas. Lots of prepared fresh salads, and then of course also the option to pick your own, select your own produce, or buy it already packed. These salads really popular. Because people don't have the time to do it anymore, do they?
No. Now, one thing which will obviously interest the Andover viewers is how many staff would you employ on a store like this? And
it says here new local opportunities 256, but in actual fact there's more than that who are working here.
Really? So you're going to be quite a major employer, really.
We really are. In a lot of communities we are the largest employer. So that's a real bonus for the community. These are going to be donated to a local organization. We always select a charity, and we do something for them at when we open a new store.
Okay. You say you're opening another one today as well?
I'm opening another one in Gravesend.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
it's
how many you got now? How many stores?
It does change, as you say. They do open up. Last I checked was 367.
Really?
No.
That's quite something,
and that's throughout the UK.
Yeah. And there's quite a few of these big superstores opening up now.
Yeah. So. There's we only open up a store where we feel the area needs it. It's like what Conrad Hilton said about his hotels. It's all location, location, location. And this is very much the same thing with supermarkets. We're not going to open up a store where there's no demand for it. It doesn't make business sense. But when we see that there's an opportunity, when customers aren't being served by a superstore or even ordinary supermarket, we'll look into the opportunity of opening a store there.
Okay, well I know there's already enormous interest in Andover for Safeways opening, so what we're going to be doing over the next few weeks is bringing local news about Safeways opening to the viewers. And thanks very much indeed, Anne, for talking to us this afternoon. It's been absolutely brilliant and showing us around your incredible new store here in Reading.
Great.
So thanks once again.
Well, thanks for coming. We appreciate it.
See you soon.
Bye.
Well, welcome back from Reading to the control room of Town TV. I'm sadly looking at some stuff from last year, and Frank Shepherd, he's the organiser of the Thruxton Motorcycle Club, has asked us to show a clip we did at the George and Dragon last year. And actually this will coincide with the Southampton Motorcycle Show, which we've been asked to cover on April the 16th and the 17th. So it's over to Graham Christie, landlord, George and Dragon. Graham Christie at the George and Dragon in Hurstbourne Town. Graham, tell me what's going on this evening.
Well, we're having our bi-weekly meeting of the Thruxton Motorcycle Club. It's been running now for something like 15, 16 months and going from strength to strength.
There's not many landlords that would put up with 80 bikers or so turning up at their pub. I mean, you must be a bike fanatic yourself.
Well, hardly a fanatic, but I think you could call me a born-again biker. I started in my teens, obviously, when motorcycling was a different ballgame to what it is now. But having left motorcycling and then come back to it some number of years later, I find there's quite a number of gentlemen in the same sort of situation, keen on motorcycles and getting back into it.
All getting very exciting now. We're stood outside the George and Dragon, and actually, where have the motorbikes got to? We're waiting to see 60 motorbikes turn up, but just keep watching this space on Town TV. Here comes somebody. Here's another motorbike. There's a Kawasaki roaring in. This is Frank. Frank, why did you come without your motorbike?
I knew you were going to ask me that question.
What are you doing, coming in a car?
It's rather like a chef, working in the kitchen all day long with a la carte meals and everything. He gets a bit fed up of steak.
Yeah, we did the chef at Esserbourne Manor last week, so he's on this week.
No, quite frankly, I do work with motorcycles all day long, and I'm involved with motorcycle people all day long. And I do get the opportunity from the shop to ride a bike. But of course, I got a young family and I got to see to all of that first. I get more enjoyment out of seeing these people enjoy their biking than I do myself.
So how many members you got in the club?
To date, we've got the best part of 200 members, of which there are 100 really active members who don't miss it. They don't just come from Andover, they come from all over the place. I mean, Newbury, Winchester, Southampton, Salisbury. We've got a very wide base of members in the club, yeah.
So how did you get the name the Thruxton Motorcycle Club?
Well, in fact, we have, as you may already know, the motorcycle shop in Andover opposite the railway station. And many customers came to us and said, is there any clubs around or whatever? And we decided that we would invite some of our regular customers to see if they liked the idea. 115 letters were sent out and 105 people turned up that night, so obviously there was a need for it. And words got around between the motorcyclists themselves that it is just a nice social motorcycling club.
This looks nice bike at the back here. What's this one?
That's a Honda CBR 1000, gained to local people. The first one that came in was a Kawasaki GPZ 500, and that is the wife of the chap who's riding the CBR 1000. So we don't just have all male-dominated members here. There's an awful lot of lady members, as you'll see later on.
That's very good. Come on then. Come on, say a few words for Town TV.
Hello, everybody.
Most people expect to see it full of males riding motorbikes, and you're an exception to that rule, I guess.
Women can ride just as well as men, and just as fast.
Good for you. What bike is this?
An LC 250. Yeah. It's quite quick off the mark.
Yeah. Frank was telling me you're one of the founding members of this organisation. Is that right?
I wasn't here from the start, but I came here started from last September, and it's just a great community with all the bikers. We do a lot of outings, stuff like that, charity events.
Yeah. Frank, so tell me about this charity event you did at Thruxton.
Last year, the members decided that they would like to do something worthwhile for the children in need that comes on BBC television. And the manager of Thruxton Race Circuit is quite a colleague, and he suggested that we could use the circuit for a whole day. Not all of the circuit, but a good stretch of the circuit. We had the Gullwing Owners Club up there. BBC came down and filmed it all, and we actually did get invited up to the BBC studios at Southampton. They made us very welcome. They put us in the hospitality suite, and we got 2 minutes of fame on the Children in Need programme about 11:30 at night. About 40 of us went down to the studios, and we raised well over £1,000, and it was well worth it. Graham is an enthusiastic motorcyclist. What more could you want? You know, a mature landlord who's a motorcyclist.
I'm back from Reading, and Tony, lunchtime was done at a wedding, weren't you? A little wedding, and it is St Patrick's Day, and here we are now at the White Lion in, where are we? Wherwell. White Lion in Wherwell. And we've come over on St Patrick's night to see some folk music, Irish folk music, I hope. Now Tony, Now Tony Murray, as you know, is from Dublin, St Mary's College, Dublin, old boy. Well, he's not that old, but here we are, sat at the bar in the White Lion, and it is St Patrick's night. So I'm going to get Tony to say a few words and introduce us to the band out there.
Well, I don't know who they are yet until I have a look at them, but I believe they do play some Irish stuff, and we might move on somewhere else later on.
There is a room where we might go to Leckford Hut and see a bit of stuff out there, but...
Well, it's Paddy's night, so we've got to go out and have a look at a few things.
Why aren't you drinking Guinness?
Well, I'm doing very well as it is. I've been at the wedding reception today. I'm still stone cold sober.
We've been having business meetings all afternoon.
Business meetings all afternoon. It's about time we had a few drinks. So let's go have a few drinks and listen to some folk.
I think it's really good. Going to listen to some folk music over there. So just see you in a minute.
Those group to send us the brands where we would be killed in the morning. He says, my young fellows, I hear but one word. I instantly now will out with my sword, and into your bodies the strength will afford. So now, my gay devils, take warning. When Arthur and I, we took in the odds, we gave them no chance for the launch of their swords. Our wedding till ladies came over their heads and paid them right smart in the morning. As for the wee drummer, we rifled his pouch and we made a football of his grody down and into the ocean to rock and to roll, and barring the day its return. As for the old ranger that hung by his side, we drug it as far as we could in the tide. To the devil I pitch you, says Arthur McBride, to temper your spleen in the morning.
Well, I think it's an old saying at Town TV, we don't spend all of our time in pubs, but today is St Patrick's Day, and it's now about 10 to 10 on a Thursday night, St Patrick's Day. Here we are in the Leckford Hut, and Tony here is playing the bass, and Irish music in the background. Tony, so are you enjoying St Patrick's Day?
Ah, it's wonderful. Really am enjoying this. I mean, this band is wonderful.
What's the name of the band? What is the name of the band?
There is no name, it's just a collection of musicians.
So what sort of stuff do you play?
Me personally, I play English, Irish, rock, blues, anything. You pay me, I'll play it.
What's your name, sorry?
Keith Holloway.
Hello, Keith. Nice to meet you. You know Tony here?
We met 5 minutes ago, yeah.
Really?
We're the best of mates now. He's a bass player as well, so
that's very good. What's the guy playing over there?
It's a 4-string banjo, a tenor banjo. Traditional Irish instrument.
Yeah, lovely sound. It's very appropriate for tonight.
Oh yes. So's the balloons.
And the guy here, what's he playing?
That's a boron or a boran, depending on how you pronounce it, which is primarily an Irish instrument again, but much adopted by English musicians.
What we got over here, kid?
That's a melodeon. Yeah. That's a melodeon down here. Flute, quite obvious itself. And this is a bass guitar.
Well, sit back and enjoy the music.